On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Man, just more and more. The news is getting crazier. I think we're definitely heading towards the storm. Again, where exactly it happens, don't know, but there's only so far out it can go, right? I mean, this month, next month, and then we're pretty much in elections. So if things aren't super hot and sweaty by that point already, by election time, to where either A, we're not having the election, B, they've figured out a way to postpone the election, or C, they're going to go for it anyway and see if they can cheat, which is then when we've got to make sure we show up to the polls. So there's still a lot of work to be done, a lot of awakening to occur, and how a lot of this awakening is going to happen, folks, and this is going to bug some of you, but it's going to be over what happens over the next few weeks. Next few weeks are going to be key. Got a lot going on. Let's talk about it. Don't want to waste any time here. Now, starting off with the Queen and all that interesting stuff, wow. I mean, it's all I can say is wow. There's a lot of very, very strong opinions. There's a lot of opinions about how things should have been handled. There's a lot of opinions about everything. It's unreal right now. First off, Americans in general, just FYI, you guys can be all about, the Queen being deep state and everything else. It's definitely, I think, a pretty common thought amongst many of us. But you have to also understand that this is a very special person in the British Commonwealth. I hope that's correct to say. Also in Australia, also in New Zealand, also in Canada. There's a lot of countries that give reverence to this lady. She just represents kind of like your grandmother. My grandma, I got a grandmother that says really horrific things, but she's mostly an awesome person. But she says some pretty horrific things. We kind of always say, she's just being grandma, right? I don't not love her, but she says some pretty horrible things. So it's tough. Needless to say, Queen Elizabeth II passed away. We all know this. This is old news. Prince Harry arrived in Balmoral about half an hour after his grandmother passed, and his wife, by the way, Meghan Markle, she's the one that said when she got involved with the royal family, she felt like she was treated like a black person. Her words, not mine. That's pretty racist. So, needless to say, she probably shouldn't be at the ceremony. I think she's persona non grata. Probably know a few of those people in our lives, don't we? So, needless to say, people are coming in to pay their respects, to do this last 10 days thing that they're going to be doing, the London bridges and all that nonsense. So the Great Reset. King Charles III is set to rule after Queen Elizabeth II passes away. Now, he's in charge now. One thing, there's a couple points that I think are kind of interesting to make about him. I mean, first off, no question about it, he's a puppet. He's got people that are above him. Now, if you guys can put in the comments who this dude is, I don't know who this dude is. I don't know who he is. I'm not all in on the British people. But he's obviously putting a finger on someone's chest. That's definitely a power move. It's also something that's one of the few things that makes me see red. Like my dad did that to me a few times in my life, and it just freaking drives me insane. I hate it. I hate having people point my chest. Oh, no. That will not be acceptable. No. So this dude's not a good guy either. Let's say it. Now, I'm kind of wondering, from the British standpoint, I got a couple of you guys that tend to email me and stuff, and you can maybe let me know. Is it different when it's a king versus a queen? Is there like a sort of different level, or do you still have that same, like, oh my God, the forgotten king? Like, it's been queen for 70 years. It's just so strange that it's now a king. Anywho, we'll see how you guys all feel about that. So that's funny. Now, again, here in the United States, no different, folks. No different. A lot of you guys are like, no, Democrat Party's bad. No, that's totally wrong. Deep state's been on both sides. We have rhinos, we have deep state Democrats, and then we've got some good ones on both sides. George Bush Sr., when he passed away, that was much like the Queen passing away, by the way. And I don't mean he was as cool as the Queen, but I mean his tentacles and what he was involved with and what he had connections to and what he was always playing a part in was significant. When he passed away, that all died with him. Much is the same with the Queen. And again, my condolences and respect to my fellow friends that are mourning right now. I get that. I get it. And I'm sure even some of you that are mourning are like, yeah, the Queen was not the best person, but that still sucks, right? It's like we lost our grandma. So I get it. I do. I know it pisses some people off in the United States. They just cannot get past this little very simple thing going on inside their brains. It's cool. It is what it is. But Barack Obama was in that same circle. Bill Clinton was in that same circle. Jimmy Carter was in that same circle. And so was Doofus Bush. Doofus W. He was also in there. No different. Okay? Both systems totally jacked. I'm not pointing fingers at one and saying the other's better. No. I mean, I think our American system's better. Don't get me wrong. And no offense to the Brits, but no, I don't think the rulers are necessarily any better. Now, one thing that I think is true, King Charles I supposedly dissolved Parliament. King Charles II supposedly dissolved Parliament. Now we have King Charles III. Wonder what he's going to do. A lot of people think that the end of the deep state regimes are over, and the Queen was one of the last pieces to fall. Of course, the chess reference has been very popular right now. When do you go after the king? Usually once the Queen's taken out. You almost have to take the Queen out to make it easier to get to the king. Are there times where you can get checkmate without killing the Queen? For sure. For sure. Not in this game. No, this is going to be one of those games where there's literally no other pieces on the board except the king, and he's just running around one move at a time, hoping to delay the inevitable. While you're moving pieces into places to create angles and columns and lines of attack that eventually he can't move anymore. And it's either going to be a stalemate or a checkmate. It's going to be one of those. So strong chance King Charles III may very well be the guy that dissolves Parliament, which, based off this Tuss or Truss or whatever the hell her name is, the new chick that replaced Boris Johnson, special lady that she is. I've got a story about her. I'll eventually get her name figured out. But a mess. Now, the Queen represented all that is good about Britain, say many of the mourners at Buckingham Palace. Again, this is how thousands of Britons feel, right? They do. So for you Americans that don't, and I lump myself into that. I'm not trying to be a jerk here, but I'm just trying to get people to understand that this is not just a queen, and we can't just say, she's deep state, and then poo-poo. I mean, dude, she was the queen for 70 years. Can you imagine if you had a president for 70 years? We had a hard enough time letting go of Trump after 4. Maybe we haven't. Maybe we haven't needed to either, but whatever. So I just think a lot of people need to kind of like take a chill pill on the whole, attack everybody, and when people die to rejoice. I mean, I will admit, and I probably do it again, I made fun of the dude that jumped to his death, the guy for Bed Baths & Beyond. I did. I think the only person I've gone on record really making fun of that died, because it's pretty insensitive. I'm going to admit it, for sure. But he was a dirty, dirty bird. Dirty bird. And he wasn't a dirty bird for 70 years. If he would have been, I don't know, and we'll see. Who knows? I'm probably just as wrong, folks. I'm not trying to say I'm perfect. Far from it, in fact. Now, some people are pissed off that Trump came out and said really nice words about her. I think that's what you're supposed to do, no matter what. In fact, Putin came out and said nice words about her. They didn't come out and say, she's a horrible person, blah, blah, blah. That's not what you do. It's not respectful. It's not what you do under these circumstances. It's not appropriate. It's not what leaders do. It's not what people in positions of importance do. You don't do that. You may not like the person, though Trump actually does claim that he liked her. He enjoyed it. He had a good time with her, he said. We were just talking and talking, and it was like there was nobody else in the room. So whatever, I don't know. He was having an interesting conversation. He also, and there's videos of him doing it, was walking in front of her. You don't do that. So I think Trump liked her because he's like, I'm in charge, not you. But whatever. Symbolically speaking, you don't walk in front of the Queen. Trump did. And he refused to not walk in front of her. He was also there to get her to sign some paperwork, to my understanding. So again, things have happened. They don't necessarily talk about that. And X22's been speculating, and I think he's got some points. I don't know where he's getting his info from, or if it's just speculation. It could be either. But I think there's a strong possibility that Trump or the deal might have been made with her that, look, we'll wait until you're officially put to rest before the next phase begins. There's speculation she's been dead since April. Some people say just for a couple weeks. She's probably been dead a lot longer than just recently. Whatever the case is, it's unwinding now. It's a very interesting time we're living in. Now, Biden, of course, being the intelligent stud that he is, the guy that's just so capable of just making up all the proper words right on the spot, has his little cheat sheet here. Went to D.C. to the British consulate, what the hell was it? The embassy, in Washington, D.C. Again, it's not U.S. soil. This is foreign soil that he's staying on, because if this guy strays too far from that, other than Delaware maybe, where he's got his giant iron fence around his home. But he went in there and he signed the little book, but he had to take his little cheat sheet note so he could hand write the proper stuff and not be, totally stupid. Which, for Biden's saying a lot. When he's not totally stupid, you're like, wow, that was wow. You weren't totally stupid. Wow. I know, right? Like his devil speech. I didn't watch it, but from what I've heard, he surprisingly didn't make a lot of mistakes. Like, he was horrible. He was evil, but didn't jack it up like you would expect. Now, Ultra Pepe Lives Matter shared something with us. So let me get this straight. Truth Social Q posted about a bloody queen a few weeks ago, the queen card, talking about blood on it, but it was the queen card, Queen of Spades, I believe, which is a dark upside-down heart, if you also think about it. Sort of funny. Trump literally played I am Q behind his precipice speech. Cash retruthed that something would happen soon. And now the queen dies 1,776 days after the first Q drop. Someone please hand me more popcorn, right? Like, don't you think that's probably warranted at this point? How about this? Excuse me. That one snuck up on me. Boris Johnson, giving his live speech on TV, just referenced the Queen as the keystone. We go back to post 140, and we see wealth over generations buys power. Power over generations buys more wealth and control. More wealth and control buys countries and its people. Families combined, tri, equals New World Order. Inner tri families will collapse. What is the keystone? What nation dominates all others? What nation has influence over most others? What is the keystone? The Queen. The Queen was the keystone, we're thinking. And that's what the suggestion from Boris Johnson might very well have been. Now, also some interesting numbers to play with. 17 months since Prince Philip has died. 17 months. 911 days, or 911 days, since the pandemic started. 1,776 days since the first Q drop. Do you think maybe Patriots are in control? Do you think maybe there's something significant about that day? Kind of interesting, too, that the pandemic just happened to work out that way, too, right? If you think about it. Like, I guess that was planned. Maybe. Again, numbers are a big thing that the occult uses and that we're kind of stealing from them, ultimately. And some of you don't like this, but there's good spells and there's bad spells. Think of prayer as kind of an equivalent of a good spell. Some of you hate to look at it that way, but it's actually true. And bad spells are, well, different. I don't want to get into those. But being said, there's something to all this. Trust me. Now, I want to remind you guys, we got a lot going on money-wise. DRSlikesgold.com. Figure out a way to help save that wealth. You got wealth tied up in your 401k, your IRA. Maybe you got a pile of cash, right, in the backyard, shoved into your mattress, whatever the case is. Speaking of which, mattress sale, I'm going to talk about that coming up. This is the time where things are getting weird. Stock market is expected to drop. We are expecting to hear rate increases happening. The dollar's kind of lost a little strength today, but again, that just has a lot to do with the fact that Europe's also raising their rates, which is causing the Treasury, the T-bills are essentially short-term, is getting a little better. So it's doing some things for strengthening the dollar. The stock market's actually up today as well. I think it might even be up for the week. I doubt it, but maybe. Close to even. So we're getting a little time. You've got a little time to maybe do the right thing. Again, if once everybody else figures it out, that's too late at that point. It really is. Like, I seriously doubt once the stock market really does what I believe it's going to be doing here in the next, I don't know when, soon, months maybe. Once that happens, this is going to be a tough sell for me. It truly is. DRSlikesgold.com. I love it. I believe in precious metals. I put my money where my mouth is. I don't tell you exactly how much or where, right? That's not smart. But let's say I definitely have some going on there. Also got a little bit in stocks. Also got a little bit in crypto. Got a little bit in cash. Got some property. Okay? You got to do everything. You got to think bigger. If you've got a bunch of eggs in your 401 IRA basket, take some of those eggs out of that basket, put them into a basket that's going to hold true through this. And I've said it before. Federal Reserve notes are going down. Central Bank in the United States is getting kicked out. It is happening. It is collapsing. It has to. That's the only way we can get to the new system. It's the only way. We have to get off the old system. It cannot continue, and it will not continue. So eventually we're going to have Treasury notes again. Whether they're backed by Ripple or any of that stuff, we'll see. Whether it's just another form of currency, we'll see. I don't know how that plays out yet. We'll cross that bridge soon enough. But precious metals is an incredible way to go from Federal Reserve notes to an interim to then Treasury notes once they're available. Consider it as an option. It's a very good option to try to protect your wealth. And on top of that, one, you get free silver if you spend $10,000 or more. Two, you can actually take a little bit out. You're going to pay some cash, some penalties on that a little bit, but you can pull a little of it out, pull some cash. Maybe you need to pay off some credit card debts. You can do that too. And on top of that, they've got the highest price buyback guarantee. If you're going to have anybody buy back your gold, well, Gold Cove's the guys to do it. So not only are they going to help you transfer this stuff into precious metals, they're going to help you get back to the Treasury notes when that time comes. DRSlikesgold.com, DRSlikesgold.com. You've worked too hard for that money to just let them take it away from you. Now, interesting thing to start off this next little section about energy. Everybody's talking about CO2, CO2, CO2. Now, first off, it's what trees breathe. Let's just throw that out there. We keep ripping down trees like it's nobody's business. That's actually bad for the overall climate, but we don't talk about that. Shh, don't say that. Don't mention that. But what is also interesting is this is CO2 emissions by country. And over the last 50 years, the United States has been dipping down, and recently a lot. Europe has been dipping down for, almost 100 years. Well, okay, about 50 years as well. Been dipping down, longer than us. Russia, dipping down, they've kind of flattened out, but they're way hell lower. India, rising, right? China, going through the freaking roof. And who is not on board with this climate change stuff? Who doesn't have to make pedal-powered fighter airplanes? China. Who has to make pedal-powered fighter aircraft? United States and Europe. Who's going to get their ass handed to them if they ever go to war with their pedal-powered aircraft? Us. They are trying to single-handedly destroy us. Europe, United States, the Western nations. They are single-handedly trying to put it all into China's hands. Please understand that. Make noise. If you live in Europe, if you live in the United States, this is the reality. This is the reality. Don't let them tell you differently. Now, Germany's frustrated over its neighbor's gas-sharing reluctance. They don't want to jump on board with the same stupid idea that Germany's got. I think to a large extent, a lot of people are like, Germany, you've screwed up. You pissed off the bear. They don't like you right now. So I don't want to rock the boat. So they're a little upset that their neighbors aren't willing to help them out because, frankly, all of Europe is struggling for energy right now. Macron, the guy that's dating a woman that's 20 years older than him, that was actually cheating or was his teacher when he was a minor and they were having relations. Macron urges French citizens to reduce energy consumption in order to avoid winter rationing. Again, it's the Western nations. How about Italians? Well, they're pissed off right now. They're apparently burning their energy bills in protest. It's like they're not happy about it. And without energy, no economy can run. German companies right now are warning as disasters of electricity and gas tap are turned off. They literally are going to destroy the economy with this move. The leaders don't care. The Germany leaders like, yeah, we're going to do it regardless of what the voters want. They don't care, folks. They don't. They don't care here. And the progressives, most of them, aren't even smart enough to realize how bad this actually is. They're very short-sighted. They don't understand the bigger picture. And they frankly don't care. This is horrible what we're doing. Do we need to find out ways to reduce the usage of fossil fuels? Maybe more efficient motors and things like that? Frickin' hell yeah. Hell yeah. We need to be more efficient. Not necessarily with our fighter jets, but with our cars and stuff like that. For sure. There's way better ways we can do it. We have a huge infrastructure already built that can handle gas. And our current infrastructure for electric can't handle it. And they want to put more reliance on it. And they're already telling us, yeah, so can you not power up stuff at all during the day because we might have to shut down the power. So, but buy electric vehicles. Just don't charge them. They just have them sit out in your yard. I mean, they're about $15,000 more expensive and whatnot. And in a lot of states, you still have to register them and get insurance, even if it just sits out in front of your house. Not good. So the Zelensky regime is issuing a warning to Europe about preparing for a harsh winter. The dude that is single-handedly behind the problem. Like, dude, if you could just figure out a way to find peace with Russia, maybe this problem goes away. But no, that's not what they want. They want the problem. So now this dude is telling us and Europe, hey, this is what you've got to sacrifice in order to help us. No offense, and I'm all about trying to help the average Ukrainian. Frankly, until your guys' military gets this guy out of the way, I say the rest of the world says, Ukraine, go pound sand. Okay? Russia, what do you got to do to get this over with? What needs to happen? Let's make it happen. Right? And I'm fine with keeping part of Ukraine as Ukraine, but my understanding, Poland's probably going to get part of it, and Russia is probably going to get part of it. And then this small little piece of Ukraine will still exist. It'll just be a lot smaller. So, yeah, I don't care what he says at all. You shouldn't either. Now, speaking of which, idiots, on the same topic, Wall Street Journal exposes Governor Gavin Newsom as California's high-cost energy and reliability debacle. The Wall Street Journal, in its lead editorial on September 8th, 2022, exposes California's long-standing high energy cost and poor energy reliability debacle created by its government's leadership under Governor Newsom, a debacle not created by climate change, as presented in the article's headline. So again, people are pointing out the fact that this dude single-handedly is trying to destroy this state. Now, we tried to vote him out, but the cheating was overwhelming, much like what happened in Atlanta. Just couldn't get past the cheating. But we need more people in California to wake up and pull their heads out of their asses and be like, oh, I think we have a problem. Yes, we do. A huge problem. And this guy is not the one to lead us to the promised land. In fact, he's just making it worse. And they're putting people out on the street. Anyway, British Prime Minister Truss. Oh, there it is. Truss. Trust us. Just trust us. Truss lifts the fracking ban amid energy crisis. Kind of interesting. That's actually a good thing, right? I mean, fracking is probably not the coolest form of energy production out there and tends to do some damage. And a lot of the people that talk about lighting their faucet fire the faucet water on fire, generally those are in fracking areas. Places that tend to get strange earthquakes that should never get earthquakes tend to be in fracking areas. There's some strange stuff that happens with fracking. So it is what it is, but it is a form of more energy, just one that's maybe not as cool as clean energy, possibly, oil refineries drilling, and there's a lot of places we can still drill. So it's a step in the right direction, but not a very good step. NATO chief warns Ukraine may cease to exist. So we got to keep fighting. Says if President Vladimir Putin and Russia stop fighting, then we will have peace. If Ukraine stops fighting, then Ukraine will cease to exist as an independent nation. First off, they're not legally an independent nation. They never filed the paperwork, ever. So they're still part of Russia. We can say what we want, but they're not. This is the laundromat of monetary funds for many of the world's leaders. That's what they do. They launder money through this country. So, yeah, the deep state is very worried about what happens to Ukraine. So that's why there's no chance in hell that this war is ever going to end if they continue to be at power. Now, something interesting that has been posted out, a new study that Jack Posobiec shares with us, and I'm actually going to try to say the chick's name at the end of it just because it's fun to try to say crazy-ass names. The easy part, 60 to 80% of Twitter accounts posting on Russia-Ukraine war are bots. 60 to 80% of Twitter accounts posting about the Russian-Ukraine war are bots. 90% of total posts about the war are pro-Ukraine. So odds are that 10% that's not pro-Ukraine is part of that 40 to 20% of Twitter accounts that are not bots, which gives you an idea of how hard the bots are working. Yeah, there's probably some brainwashed people on the left that are probably spouting the same stupid stuff about the war, only because this is what they've been told by all the bots, and they're brainwashed, and they don't know how to think for themselves. But this is a very interesting new study. I wish we knew where the study came from, but needless to say, Regina Mahinduk Ulasuriya told us this on Monday. Yeah, it just rolls off the tongue. Seriously, just say that 5 times fast. Yeah, just say it once at all. Slow as you want. Still hard as hell. Putin plays the escalation game. How the West can gain, or can't gain the upper hand. Can gain the upper hand, huh? The war in Ukraine has taken another turn this week. Ukraine launched its long-awaited counteroffensive against Russia positions in the south. It also reclaimed territory in the northeast. The United States announced an additional $2.8 billion in aid to Ukraine and its neighbors, including $675 million in munitions, vehicles, and field equipment. And by the way, Putin, and we'll mention it in a second, he doesn't agree that they've reclaimed territory, by the way. That's just what the Washington Free Beacon is telling us. They're a crap rag paper, but whatever. The finance ministers of the G7 agreed to a price cap on Russian oil with details to follow. UN Ambassador Linda Thomas-Greenfield condemned Russia's barbaric filtrations operations whereby Ukraine civilians are searched, interrogated, and marked for detention or population transfer. Now, again, they're looking for tattoos, by the way. One of the big things. Because all those Azov dudes have specific tattoos. So, yeah, they're being searched, and Russia doesn't give a crap. You don't really have rights. I'm not saying that's right, not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying it's necessary right now. Think if we ever go to martial law in this country, don't think for a second they ain't going to search you if you go anywhere. It's going to happen. And you'll be like, I'm an American, I have rights. They'll be like, not during martial law. You don't get down on the ground, or we will make you get down on the ground. So, Vladimir Putin, not pleased, not happy with this. The Russian autocrat threatened to escalate the conflict on September 2nd. Gazprom shut down the Nord Stream 1 gas pipeline to Europe. On September 7th, Putin warned that he might ban oil and gas exports to Europe altogether. Then he said he might cancel the deal that allows Ukrainian wheat exports to transit the Black Sea. We talked about that, how easy it would be for him to take that away. His indiscriminate shelling, oh, they're blaming him for that. That's funny. They're blaming him for the shelling. This is a crap rag paper. We're looking for the bits of truth within the falsity. They're blaming him for the shelling on the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant, which has been done by Ukraine, we're almost sure of. And there's also no heavy weapons there, and that's been confirmed by the inspectors that went there, the International Atomic, whatever the hell, Energy, blah, 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 whatever the IEAC or whatever they are. IAEC? They are basically have confirmed that, no, that's not true. So anyway, Russia, Putin said, we haven't lost anything, and we won't lose anything. Sounds about right. So again, a lot of crap is being told to us, but the truth is probably nowhere near what they're telling us. Now, Blinken, he slams Putin's threats to limit Ukraine grain shipments. How dare you? Well, look, dude, you keep sending weapons into the country that keeps using them against Russia, so you're escalating things. The reason things keep escalating is causing Putin to do other things that's making it worse, which is causing you guys to want to escalate further, but you kind of can't because you're running out of the option to do so. So you guys are creating your own problem, you know? It's like you walk into your friend and you hit him, and then you ask him, can I borrow $5? And you're like, you just hit me. Yeah, I know, but I need $5. Yeah, no. Why? You just hit me. So? But why would I want to give you money? Because I'm asking. But you just hit me. Yeah, I know, but so? Huh? Like, again, that's about how much logical sense it makes. Makes no sense. No sense. And yes, those grain shipments will probably not be making it to Europe. People will starve. People will freeze unless your crap-ass leaders in Europe, and I'm talking to any Europeans that are listening, if your crap-ass leaders finally change their tune. You see, they're backed into a corner. It's part of what's cool about the fact that the deep state is being taken down, even in Europe. It's happening. So again, it is moving forward, continuing to. Russian ally Belarus conducts military exercises near the Polish border. They're staying in their own territory, but they are amassing troops in a very interesting place, very closely to Poland and very closely to Ukraine. I wonder if that's just coincidence, or I wonder if there's maybe an additional stage that's about to begin. Think about it. Up to 7,500 military personnel, 260 armored vehicles, and about 30 aircraft and helicopters will take part. That's a decent little force, especially considering Ukraine doesn't have a whole lot of stuff. Belarus is part of Russia, so it would not be an escalation from that standpoint. Ukraine would want to make it so, but Technically, it wouldn't be. It's still an internal problem that's being handled internally. We're trying to escalate it for sure. Now, once again, Blinken has announced an additional $2 billion for Ukraine during the surprise visit. Just surprise, went out there. He's like, dude, what's going on? Well, what are you doing? And he's like, well, we're going to give you $2 billion more. So far, we've given over $13.5 billion. Again, we're having problems in our own country, but let's not worry about that. We've got people flooding across the southern border because we've missed a couple spots at the fence. It's okay. That's not a problem either. You know, huge inflation, supply problems, gas problems, and, you know, we keep taking oil from our strategic reserves and selling them to China, to Centacom or whatever Centepac, whatever that company is that Hunter Biden's sitting on the board of, and probably Pelosi's child as well. So, yeah, more corruption still being pushed. They don't want this war to stop. Now, interestingly, the U.S. has explained why weapons are staying in Japan after drills. Obviously, they want to keep stuff in a close proximity. Japan's kind enough to let us keep them there. Probably makes Japan feel a little bit safer as well because of things are about to get interesting. Now, want to point out one other interesting thing. We've talked about how, and I still believe this, that Derek Johnson guy, I like him a lot. And so there may be a couple things he said that are, you got to maybe dig into a little bit, or maybe he needs to qualify or clarify a little bit. But for the most part, I think the dude was nailing it. And I want to point out the key point that I've pointed out even prior to Derek Johnson bringing it up. This is General Charles Flynn that made this decision. That's Flynn's brother, right? So this is not Biden's choosing. Biden's people are not in charge. Lloyd Austin is not in charge. The military, maybe just by itself, or Donald Trump could still be the commander-in-chief. I don't know that part for sure. We do know the differences in the salutes they got, and I don't want to rehash all that. But General Charles Flynn's the one that made the decision to keep these forces in Japan. Also interesting, shared from Patel Patriot, very good guy as well. I love devolution, and so I think there's a combination between devolution and what's actually happening. I think they're all related. But interestingly, you know that infamous the executive order 13848, if you're paying attention. But this is the national emergency pursuant to the blah 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 to deal with unusual and extraordinary threats for national security and foreign policy. This is the one that Donald Trump put into order. Biden just extended it again. Second time Biden extended this executive order. Don't tell me for 1 second Biden's in charge of anything. No, he's not. He's admitting he did this, because if he didn't admit he did this, then we'd have to admit that Trump or someone else did this. If Trump or someone else extended the executive order, that would mean they're the executor or the commander-in-chief. And that would mean that Biden is not. So they're telling us one thing. You know Biden doesn't want this at all. Biden's not in charge at all. This is a show. We have to take our government back by taking it back locally. Washington, D.C. is almost the last piece of this, and we're this close to taking it back. That's what's happening. This election that's coming up will be an effort to take back control of Washington, D.C. from the deep state cronies. It is the corporation part of Washington, D.C., and that will be taken back as well. So we've got the states and all of that under control, which I think are operating maybe under the old Constitution. I'm not sure how that works. We'll see. But the corporation part that's going bankrupt is also going to be taken back control of by us putting patriots in place of those nasty, horrible people that have been there. So what will it take for the international agency to wake up? I think this one part here is what I was wanting to share. Tuesday night saw the second Israeli airstrike on the Aleppo airport. We talked about the airport that got hit. Cruise missiles hit the runways. They're trying to keep larger planes from taking off. Also Tuesday night, Deir ez-Zor in Syria was attacked by unknown warplanes. There are two possibilities for who might have carried out the strike. First, it may have been the U.S. synchronizing with Israel so that they can attack in conjunction with one another. Second, Israel may be leading the strike also and just informing the U.S. of their actions. The base that was attacked in Deir ez-Zor was originally Syrian. Then the war began, and Russia took over the upgraded facilities. upgraded the facilities. But now that Russia has pulled its troops out from the base in favor of the war in Ukraine, Iran then swooped in and set up shop. Thus, it was the Iranians who were targeted in this attack. They're going to try to make it sound like we attacked Russia or something. No, we didn't. And again, who's actually in charge? Was this our planes? Did we do something and we're not admitting to it? Were we helping Israel? Was this Israel doing it? I mean, either's possible, truly. So, interesting what's going on. And that's a major part of the world that we need to keep tabs on. Now, Iranian terrorists will get billions of dollars before Congress can review the new nuclear deal. Kind of doesn't make sense, right? Like Congress hasn't even reviewed the nuclear deal, but already money's going to be moved. Sanctioned entities linked to Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the country's paramilitary fighting force that is trying to assassinate U.S. officials, will receive a massive influx of cash the moment the deal is signed. The Biden administration will also release some $7 billion in frozen assets tied to the IRGC funding prior to a single day of congressional review. Richard Goldberg, former director for countering Iranian weapons of mass destruction on the White House National Security Council, has told this to the Free Beacon. So again, who's in charge? Well, who's in charge of the military and things like that is not Biden and them. Who's in charge of the Corporation of the United States? Federal Reserve's part of that as well. Treasury, I believe, is also part of that as well. Well, right now, Biden was sworn in by the fake Congress, the fake president. This is run by China, most likely, right now. Maybe it was England, the Queen, who knows? But it certainly isn't controlled by we the people. That's changing, but here's an example of where they're able to print money willy-nilly and give it to whoever they want. And based off of who they're giving it to, we know what side of the fence they're on. A lot of people that are pro-Democrats are going to be like, why are we giving billions of dollars to Iran? Why? Makes no sense. You guys have been, you guys meaning the normal media, have been telling us idiots for years and years and years that Iran's not our friends, that they're going to make a nuclear weapon, blah, 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 that they're funding terrorists. Yet, here we are giving them billions of dollars. Interesting. Hopefully that wakes some people up too. Now, are they hiding something? Probably. Biden admin moves to stay Trump's special master. They are fighting this all the way. They do not want to open up Pandora's box so we can see what the hell's in there. Not at all. They're fighting this every which way they can. Now, we'll see what happens. Special master was supposed to be appointed today. This will likely slow down that process. I think they just filed this stuff yesterday. So they're fighting it. Tooth and nail, I might add, but they are fighting it. The appeal reads in part, specifically, the government seeks to stay to the extent the order enjoins the further review and use for criminal investigative purposes of records bearing classification markings that were recovered pursuant to a court-authorized search warrant, and requires the government to disclose those classified records to a special master for review. Those are the two parts they're fighting. Government respectfully requests that the court rule on this motion promptly. If the court does not grant a stay by Thursday, September 15th, which is next Thursday, the government intends to seek relief from the 11th Circuit, which is probably D.C., right? Is the 11th Circuit D.C.? Atlanta-based 11th Circuit. They might, maybe they can force it through there. I don't know. Probably. I'm sure it's a bad circuit court. We'll see what happens. And I'm pretty sure that she will fight it, but then they might try to appeal it to the 11th Circuit. We'll see how this plays out. Maybe the Supreme Court may have to get involved. After all, this could get very interesting. Again, part of the show. Now, forwarded from Kenekoa the Great, what we also learned in our review is apps.konek.com resolved into this same URL in China, meaning that the application itself was residing in China. New investigations of Chinese infiltration of U.S. elections and signs of an FBI cover-up. You see, the same people trying to get the stay are the same people in bed with China, are the same people that are trying to cover up everything, are the same people that are guilty. Guilty. So yeah, they're worried about the truth coming out. Truth's gonna come out. How it comes out, how that manifests, that's what makes it a fun movie, right? Because you're watching the movie right now and you're like, Well, I know the truth's going to come out, but how? Exactly. That's the cool part. Who knows? It's going to be fun when it happens. And it's going to happen soon, apparently by next Thursday. DOJ alleges more classified records may be at Mar-a-Lago. Now, again, if there was any intelligence to why they raided and what documents they got, there's some people that are speculating that Trump was well aware of that, and this may have been how they got evidence admitted. Might be. I actually think there's probably some truth to that. It's really hard to tell because it looks like the DOJ is totally dirty and they're trying to do dirty things. So maybe they got tricked. Possible. I guess I have a harder time with that just because it makes the DOJ completely inept. And I don't think they're actually inept. I think they're corrupt, yes. Inept? Nah. They're pretty calculating. They're not dumb. No question about that. They do dumb things. Yeah. So we'll see. Again, what's true, what's not. We're getting a lot of info. We don't know. We don't know. A lot of people are claiming to know. I don't think we know. The documents you think will bring down Trump are actually the documents that will drain the swamp, right? They're going to go there again. They're going to go there again. What other documents are they going to bring home to mama? I don't know. We'll see. Now, Trump truthed. They leak, lie, plant fake evidence, allow the spying on my campaign, deceive the FISA court, raid and break into my home, lose documents, and then they ask me, as the 45th president of the United States, to trust them. Look at the IG reports on Comey, McCabe, and others. Things are safer in the middle of Central Park. Yeah, trusting them, that ain't going to happen. They're obviously going to lie. That much I can trust. I trust they will lie. I trust they will not tell me the truth. I trust they're untrustworthy. That's where my trust is. Donald Trump continues. So now the FBI and Biden Department of Justice leakers are going to spend millions of dollars and vast amounts of time and energy to appeal the order on the raid of Mar-a-Lago document hoax by a brilliant and courageous judge whose words of wisdom rang true throughout our nation. Instead of fighting the record-setting corruption and crime that is taking place right before their very eyes, they spied on my campaign, lied to the FISA court, told Facebook quiet, presided over the worst crime wave ever. Crime wave in all caps, FISA court in all caps. Probably should have looked those up, but whatever. President Trump saying what's true, saying what's up. No question about it. So the judge hands down a major ruling on Trump's lawsuit. This is a different thing. He was suing Clinton and all them for the whole Russia conspiracy. Russia. Says, quote, I highlighted here are just two glaring problems with the amended complaint. This is the judge that was referring. Now, this is what surprises me a little. This is District Judge Donald Middlebrooks. He's a Bill Clinton appointee. He is definitely someone that you can tell from the language used that he hates Trump. This dude has no business doing this case. He should have recused himself. He obviously didn't. You let me know if you disagree. But so he says, I highlighted here just the two glaring problems with the amended complaint. There are many others. Red flag one. But these are emblematic of the audacity of the plaintiff's legal theories and the manner in which they were clearly contravened binding case law. Flag 2. First, the amended complaint's answer to the defendant's motion to dismiss the original complaint, wherein defendants noted the lack of predicate RICO offenses, was to add another predicate offense, wire fraud. Middlebrooks, who refused to recuse from the case, wrote in his 65-page order. Trump also fails to account for the Supreme Court's requirements that to obstruct justice, there must be a nexus to a judicial or grand jury proceeding, he added later. The judge said that there were many events were characterized in the amended complaint, are implausible because they lack any specific allegation which might provide factual support for the conclusions reached, flag 3, including the characterization that former FBI Director James Comey and other government officials overzealously targeted Trump, flag 4. Trump and his campaign were investigated by the FBI for years over the dossier compiled by Steele, which was paid for by Clinton and other Democrats. The dossier contained many claims that have remained unsubstantiated to this day. The FBI operation was called Crossfire Hurricane. Investigators made serious errors and admissions in the probe the Department of Justice watchdog has found, including manipulating an email. So, again, Middlebrooks is Just a piece of trash, actually. And, yeah, he's obviously got problems with Trump. So they kicked this one down. Nah, not the end of the world. I think Durham's trial is going to suffice for what we need it to. We've also got a report on findings in the Supreme Court leak. That investigation's coming. We didn't get a lot of info. This is really just a disappointing article. But the part that they said, that's the news. Quote, the Chief Justice appointed an internal committee to oversee the investigation, end quote, Gorsuch said. So the Wall Street Journal reported that the committee has been busy and we're looking forward to their report, I hope, soon. That's all we know. I've seen that spun a few ways. That's what we know. Those are the quotes. So don't let anyone tell you, it's coming soon. Oh, yeah, they said it was going to. No, we hope soon. That's what they're saying. They don't actually know. Oregon Electric Company says power shutoff is increasingly likely. They seem to have been copying California. What a shock. The Uber lefter you go, the more your power grids seem to not work. But they're going to have to shut them off for about 12,000 customers because what? Yeah, there's a chance of fire. Fire. Really? Really? Fire? Ay, good Lord. So why nuclear power is quietly making a big comeback all around the world. Belgium and many other countries are doing this. California decided not to shut down their last nuclear power plant. Again, I get it. They're kind of crazy and scary, but they're also an incredibly efficient and high power abilities, right? I mean, they can make megawatt generators very easy. So they're incredibly powerful. Dangerous, yes. Powerful, yes, too. Hugely powerful. So again, I actually got to tour the one they shut down here in San Onofre one time, and that was cool. That was cool. One of the neatest tours I've ever been on in my life. Very, very much enjoyed that. So again, is it dangerous? Can be, but most of the time it's not. I mean, Chernobyl was very different than like a lot of the power plants we make, by the way. They actually, normally you house the reactor in something that can withstand a meltdown. Russia's Chernobyl wasn't like that. The reactor was in a building that was meant to keep the snow out. Wasn't meant to keep the radiation in if there was ever a problem. And that was a big part of the problem. They didn't have that extra protection. Or essentially the things that look like boobs. There's other reactors now. I think they got square buildings in most cases. The boobs are just cool. Why? Because they look like boobs. That's why. DRS, how about mypillow.com/OTF? Yeah, DRS likes gold.com. That's like brain. It's engraved in my brain. MyPillow.com/OTF. Get yourself, seriously, the best night of sleep ever. Got the Percale sheets, still majorly on sale. For twin beds, they're starting as low as $29.98. You got kids, they got twin beds, get some cheap sheets, right? Easy way to do it. You got different colors. That way, you can swap them out because kids are nasty. So, you got to switch them out pretty often. Got these great slippers that are going to be incredible once wintertime comes, especially for all the countries out there that are going to freeze to death. At least your feet will be warm. Huh? I'm looking out for you guys. Plus, you can get some really warm. The down comforter is another thing I would recommend. These towels are incredible. I've said it before. I've got a Costco towel. It feels a little like plusher, but it doesn't work as well. That's the thing. And it's not really as soft. It's weird. It's thicker, but it's not better. That was the thing that tripped me out. Like when you feel them, you'd be like, no, the Costco towel's got to be better. So I actually lagged to try out these towels. I literally did. I'm like, they're probably not as good as the Costco towels. I actually thought that. And then you know what? I used them. And you know what? I disagreed with myself right after I used them. The very first time I went and put it on, I'm like, well, first off, it's really soft. And then it was like, holy crap, the way this just sucks the water off my body is incredible. It's not like the Costco towels. Same thing I felt like with the pillow. I bought the pillow because I wanted to help out Mike Lindell. I'm like, I'll buy a pillow. What the hell? They're supposedly great. This is what he made his whole My Pillow company on. So I got the pillow, and I used it. And it was just like, holy crap, you made the pillow better. And I'm weird with pillows. Like, I like a real thin pillow, generally. So I got the less full one, and it's awesome. And it is. It's one of those things where you can get it right back to normal. The way it cradles your head, it's like your spine's, it's just freaking awesome. Even if you sleep on your side, I mean, it just works. It's incredible. They've got the toppers. They've actually got the mattresses. Oh, I forgot to bring this up. The mattress. They gave us this little picture. Let's open this up. Check this out. My Pillow mattresses, all made in the USA, 10-year warranty, 6-month money-back guarantee. You can get half off any mattress. 50% off. Coupon code OTF. OTF is the coupon code. MyPillow.com/OTF. Get the best night of sleep you've ever had. I'm telling you, you're going to love it. Plus, I got the dog stuff, too. And Panjamas, I still got to get my girlfriend to re-record it. It cut off. It's just Jamas. Jamas. It's like, that's not what I wanted her to say. All right here, listen.
Panjamas.
See, you can't really hear her say Panjamas.
Panjamas.
Oh, there you go. Kind of.
Panjamas.
Sort of.
Panjamas.
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 That's my girl right there. I'm not just making up my girlfriend. She's legit. Panjamas and all. Check them out. And the pillows, the dog beds, a whole lot more. It's a whole bunch of stuff. Go to MyPillow.com/OTF. Get the best night of sleep you've ever had. And I seriously mean that. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. And then you're going to email me. You're like, you're right about the pillows. I know. I've got friends that say the same thing. It's not just me. They're awesome. New report says that the Fed may require 7.5% unemployment to lower inflation. Things are going to get interesting. Hiring has already been pushed back. A lot of companies aren't hiring right now. Big tech companies aren't hiring right now. We're heading in that direction, folks. I'm just telling you, there's a lot of writing on the wall to indicate there's something coming. Just prepare as best you can. D.C. official who boasted about sanctuary city status says the city's been turned into a border town. Sweetheart, welcome to what it's like living in the southern part of this country where you guys don't think we have a problem. Well, guess what? Now the problems come to you. And now all of a sudden you're like, well, this is hard. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to order Mexican food. Whatever. I don't know what your stupid reason is, Mario Bowser. But suck it. That's what I say. Breaking 9/11 stuff here. Massive police response amid reports of active shooter at the IRS building in Memphis. Jordan Sather was sharing this. Now, it's interesting that it's Memphis again. This was yesterday, I guess. I didn't see the story pop up, which is kind of strange. But Memphis was also where the other shooting was. So, weird. Of course, this is going to try to be blamed on somebody MAGA and or possibly guns, just in general, but whatever. What could possibly go wrong? Scientists have just created the world's deadliest flu. How could that be a bad idea? No one would ever use that as a weapon. Really? This is still happening, folks. These are the same stupid Anthony Fauci people running around. Oh, we got to do this because otherwise someone will use it against us. It's like, yeah, but you just invented it. Oh, yeah. So if anyone uses it against us, it'll be because you gave it to them. Yeah, well, you're not supposed to know that. Come on. No, we would never do that. Right. Just like Moderna's patented. There's a little section of the gene on the COVID that was made by Moderna. It was patented. No, that's not possible, is it? Because it was naturally made in a wet market. Oh, no, it wasn't, because you're a frickin' liar, Anthony Fauci. God, I want to say the F word really bad right now. And I don't mean Fauci. I mean the good F word. Major companies are ditching Facebook's login option button due to privacy concerns. This is what all of you should do, frankly, but whatever. You know how, until a month ago, shoppers on Dell's website looking for a new laptop could log in using their Facebook credentials to avoid creating a username and password. That option is now gone. Why? Because they don't know what the hell Facebook's doing with that info. They can't promise their customers any security or safety. So you know what they did? They said, we're not going to allow this anymore. You either got to create an account with us or F you, basically. Suck it. Once again. Facebook's a mess, folks. It's an intelligence apparatus. Twitter lying to us. YouTube controlling the narrative. And then they serve you up stuff to watch. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? Speaking of wonderful platforms, try Rumble.com. Love Rumble. Am I getting paid to say this? No. But I love Rumble. It's where the largest portion of my audience is. That's where you can find me, obviously. Hopefully you're watching me there. Might be BitChute. Those are the other major one. Odyssey in some cases. Odyssey's just fun. And then, by the way, Brighteon. If you guys are in Brighteon, I think I have 34 subscribers on my Brighteon account right now. Literally. 30. Let me check. I'll check. I don't want to lie to you. But I started posting up to Brighteon. They're kind of a conservative site, you know. So, yeah. Oh, 40. 40 subscriptions. Woo! Woo! You go, boy. That's it. I'm booking the cruise now. Shoot. I got 40 subs. Anyway, Brighteon's another one. If you guys ever watch stuff on Brighteon and you have an account, just look me up. It's Dan Radio Style, I guess is the channel. So look me up as Dan Radio Style. You'll find me over there. Oh, that one was just hanging in there. Anyway. Okay, where are we at time-wise? I got to make sure. I'm about to push the mark. Oh, crap, totally pushing the mark. All right, Maine town. Okay, so in Maine, just FYI, hundreds of voters voted. Just anyone that's volunteering, understand you guys got some problems there in Maine. Get on top of it. Make sure you make noise. Manchin is trailing the 4 leading Republicans in his new West Virginia poll. So any of you guys that absolutely hate Manchin, that should bring you joy. He's also hated by the Democrats. Again, I'm not a fan of Manchin, and I'll say I'm registered independent. That's what I am. I've never been a Republican, never been a Democrat, never going to be either of those. I am independent. I like to be in the middle. I'm happy with that. I don't want to feel like I got to fight with the other side. Yeah, I'll fight with both sides, or I'll agree with both sides, or whatever. I'll pick and choose. It's more fun. Manchin, I think, single-handedly done more to save this country than any other Democrat on his side of the fence. Hands down. He's hands down done more to save this country than any other Democrat. So for that, I love him. For I think a lot of people can't because he's a Democrat, so they can't see past that. It's okay. It's okay. Would I vote for him? I don't know. He's kind of bummed. He can't even run as a Republican now. He's just hated. So, hopefully he enjoys his retirement. I think that's the best thing to wish for him at this point. But I thank him for what he's done. I truly do. He's sacrificed, I think, his entire career. Trump endorsed Jeff Deal, takes the GOP nomination for governor of Massachusetts, which is fascinating. I got a very good friend that's from Boston, and he constantly talks about how this is easily the most corrupt state in the union. So hopefully this will help get that resolved. That would be kind of nice. Alaska's ranked choice voting scheme was a plot to save Murkowski, but it also doomed Palin, which is true. Doesn't work well for other candidates, write-in candidates, third-party candidates, that kind of crap. Just doesn't work well. Alaska, I'd love to see you guys get rid of that ranked choice stuff. I hope you guys continue to make noise because you're stuck with this doofus for, a little while longer. I mean, she's got an R next to her name, but that doesn't necessarily help anything. But I have a feeling she'll either get forced into behaving properly or forced out. One of two things will happen. The movie My Son Hunter is out right now. I think that's about all I wanted to cover on this. Just reminding you guys it's out there. Parents nationwide are being threatened by California's crazy gender transition sanctuary stuff. Something to keep in mind of. So again, they're claiming, and I don't think it's legal, but just letting you know, that California's little law they've passed claims that if you bring someone from another state, California can actually take custody of that child. That sounds problematic to me, and it sounds illegal as well. I don't think California has the right to do that. Just letting you know. Just be careful. Don't come to California. I don't know. Push us off into the ocean like I keep suggesting. Take your pick. It's up to you. Jewish gun prop ban as planned. The Jewish gun group. There we go. Plans to sue New York over this concealed carry ban that's going on. You can't carry them in churches and synagogues, which frankly right now is probably one of the primary places they need to be carried. So they're suing. That's cool. This is how a lot of these laws need to get fixed, guys. Whatever state you're in, if you can find somebody that's a lawyer or find somebody that is doing a lawsuit and it's something you believe in, throw some money at them, please, if you can. Or support. Or say, can I volunteer for you? Whatever. Whatever you got the ability to do, these are other ways that we can help the bigger picture. Keep that in mind. South Carolina Senate passes the fetal heartbeat abortion ban after rejecting near total abortion ban. That's good stuff. Michigan court claims to declare abortion ban unconstitutional, so they just completely wiped it out and said it was unconstitutional for the reasons why Roe v. Wade was held onto for 50 years. That's literally the same logic they used was the equal process and equal protection stuff. So, meh. And then on top of that, the Supreme Court's also saying that Michigan has to put the abortion rights option on the next election thing, right? The next ballot. So people in Michigan are going to be able to vote for whether or not they want to kill children as a regular basis. And finally, mysterious rainbow rings are appearing in the sky around the world, and nobody knows why. Pretty frickin' cool. Very, very frickin' weird. Super frickin' weird, especially how perfectly round it is. Very strange. Something right in the middle of that up above probably playing a part. That's probably what this is related to. My guess would be a UFO. The good guys, too. The good UFOs. But whatever. Who knows? We're going to continue to fight, folks. Remember, stay local. Work local. Don't worry about what's going on in D.C. We're going to get that resolved. And that war is continuing. Stay local. Fix your local stuff. I love you guys. Keep pushing forward. I'll be there with you every step of the way. We are going to take this country back. Things will be better than they've ever been before. Where we go one, we go all. It's On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.